So Andy, walk us through the first $0 in sales and profit to the first 10K. How did that happen? How long did it take? What particular product were you selling? And when you got to that first 4K in sales, did you continue? Did you double down on the same type of product, or did you, look for a new type of product? How did that first 10K happen?
Yeah, sure. One of the first things that one of my early mentors said, well, just look at the stuff around your house first. You probably have a lot of inventory around your house that you're not using that you might be able to sell. So that was one of my first go-tos. I went to my bookshelf and I had some college textbooks there that were still worth money. And so that was the first thing that I sent into Amazon. And then, previous to that, on Amazon, to become a professional seller, you have to pay $40 a month. And so again, like just looking at that subscription and saying, $40 a month, you times that times 12, that was a scary first step, but I knew that I had to take it. And then I started looking for that inventory around my house. Then I started going to auctions. Online auctions are everywhere, where you can kind of see like what could potentially be profitable. And I made a few bids on some items that ended up hitting really good. Like what Nate shared, I think this is the key, and this is kind of why we were able to be successful, is we didn't go all in on one item. So you hear a lot of people talk about mutual funds. If you invest in mutual funds over long term, you're going to be successful, because those mutual funds, right, they have stock in thousands of companies. And when you're first starting out as an Amazon seller, you're learning the e-commerce Amazon ecosystem. And so it's really a great learning experience to be able to try different products, to sell some electronics, to sell some books, to sell some toys. And you're kind of figuring out, again, how to ship in, and all of your eggs aren't in one basket. And so that's definitely how we started. I was just trying to acquire as much inventory, that I possibly could at a very low price, and then just snowball those sales right back into more profitable inventory. And so like every Saturday, I was out from like 8 p.m. to 2 p.m. at garage sales. So again, in America, it's amazing. At garage sales, you can find a lot of new inventory. And so these are garage sales that people have. They purchased a product, they never used it, brand new. And so you'll get it pennies on the dollar. That's a product then that I would flip on Amazon. And so it really becomes about how can you hit these places like thrift stores, like garage sales, to again get as much low cost inventory as possible to really begin to build.
That's basically how you got to your first 10K, Andy. Obviously, 10K is a lot. How did you go from 10K to 100K? Did you, get into private label there, or you were still doing arbitrage? How did you look at your level of inventory? Did you spend all of that first 10K you made, to get inventory, or did you keep some for yourself? How did you sort of move to the next level?
Yeah. So as I was doing it, I was starting to get tired, right? Because you're buying like onesie twosies is what they call them, where you're buying one product, two products. It's a lot harder than to ship those in the boxes at Amazon. And I started to realize that if I could buy multiples, if I could buy 5 of one item, it is much easier to ship that in at scale. Now I'm going to make a little less money. However, if I'm selling 5, it's going to be more money than, again, if I'm just selling one thing. And so I realized that in order to scale up, I had to start purchasing multiples of products, right? Where I could send in 20 at a time, where I could send in 30 at a time. And so that's really when I started to see the business begin to scale up. And one of my honey holes is around here. It's a scratch and dent grocery store. And so products that are almost out of date, or products that maybe dented a little bit, I began to see the opportunity there. And again, those were products that I could send in 150. So I tell this story. One of my first best products was Crystal Light drink mix. And so on Amazon, if you go there, there's a lot of different listings of Crystal Light. People in America, again, love their Crystal Light. And I could buy these Crystal Light drink mixes at the scratch and dent grocery store, and then, triple and quadruple the money that I was investing in it. and I could send in 500 units. Now I would have to bundle them up. So there was some time there. And so that was the real thing that I had to decide too, because when you're first starting out, it's just a ton of sweat equity, a ton of time. But I had to reduce my time that I was putting in that inventory to be able to sell a greater amount, right, of products. And so you go again from buying onesies, twosies to buying 20, 30, eventually where you can buy 300 of a product or 400, like the Mater bubble blowers that I led off the podcast with. When you send those in, then that's really when you begin to see them, you're climbing the mountain toward that 100,000.